Hi. So in this video we are going to talk about k-means clustering, and basically this is the introduction video. So we will be introducing k-means clustering here. What is our goal when we are applying k-means clustering? Now suppose we are given this data set, okay. The ideal clustering that should be applied in this data set is this, okay. We can very clearly see that these 2 points, these two are different clusters, and we can apply a clustering based on that only. Okay, the number of clusters is represented by k, and that is why we have the name of the algorithm as k-means. Okay, but practically the choice of number of k is not done by looking at the data set, because in this particular situation we have understood that we have 2 clusters. But how? Because the data set was very well separated. In ideal cases we are not going to get this much well separated data set, so we just cannot know how many clusters we will need for the particular data set. So the value of k is dependent on the cases, which will be discussed soon. Okay, so we will talk about a lot of things right now. So the first thing that we do, we will just assume the number of k as 2 for this particular given data set. We are proceeding in the algorithm right now. The first thing that we do is that we assume that the number of clusters that we will be taking. So we have taken k as 2. Okay, so for this particular data set we have taken k as 2. The first step is to determine the centroids, and initially we just take any point as the centroid. Okay, any point from each cluster as a centroid. So from this cluster we have taken this as centroid, and from this cluster we have taken this as centroid. The next thing that we do is we calculate the distance of each point from each centroid. Okay, the distance of each point from each centroid, the distance of this point from this, and distance of this point from this as well. All right, and then we assign as it is very clear here. For example, this data point, we have calculated its distance from this centroid and its distance from this centroid, and then we assign that data point to the cluster whose centroid is closest to it. Okay, so since d1 is bigger and d2 is smaller, so this data point is assigned to this cluster. Okay, henceforth soon all the data points will be assigned to each other. Following this particular process, when we have calculated the distance of each point from each other centroid, slowly we can assign all the data points to any of the cluster, either of the cluster, and after the first iteration our cluster may look like this. This can be the boundary. Okay, this can be the boundary. Okay, so now the next thing that we do is we update the cluster, we update the centroid. How do we update the centroid? We take the mean of all these data points. And now once we have a updated value of centroid, what we do, we will reiterate through this process again and again. Now we will again calculate the distance of each point from these new centroids, and then we reassign the data points, and then we will recalculate the centroid, then we will reassign the data points. This will continue until the data points stop migrating between the clusters. Okay, the above 2 steps are repeated until there is not much significant change in the new or old centroid values, or when the data points stop moving from one cluster to another. And if the data points stop moving, obviously the centroid is not going to change at all. We have 2 stopping conditions: when data points no longer move between the clusters, and when the centroids do not change. So if I have to just summarize this k-means clustering into a flowchart, I'll say that first what we do, we assign k points from data sets as centroid for k clusters. Then we populate the clusters. We assign the data points to those clusters. Okay, how do we assign them? By measuring the Euclidean distance, and the centroid to which the data point is having minimum distance is the data point is assigned to that particular cluster. Okay, and then what we do, we recalculate we recalculate the centroid by calculating the mean of all the data points, and then we see if the stopping condition has been satisfied. How do we check if the stopping condition is satisfied? When the data points stop moving between the clusters. If it has satisfied, then it is good. If it is not satisfied, then we again reassign the data points to the cluster, then we again recalculate the sine rate, and we just keep on checking. Okay, so in the next video we are going to discuss how do we decide the optimal value for k.